When most I wink, then do mine eyes best see. For all the day they view things unrespected. But when I sleep, in dreams they look on thee, and darkly bright are bright in dark directed. Then thou, whose shadows doth make bright, how would thy shadows form happy show to the clear day with thy much clearer light, when to unseeing eyes thy shade shines so? How would, I say, mine eyes be blessed made by looking on thee in the living day, when is dead night thy fair imperfect shade through heavy sleep on sightless eyes doth stay. All days are nights, to see till I see thee. All nights bright days, when dreams do show thee me.
He looks gentler than he did.
He says he will return incontinent, and hath commanded me to go to bed, and bidden me to dismiss you.
Dismiss me?
It was his bidding, therefore, good Amelia, give me my nightly wearing and adieu. We must not now displease him.
I. Would you had never seen him?
So would not I. My love doth so approve him, that even his stubbornness, his checks, his frowns, prithee, unpin me, have grace and favour.
I have laid those sheets you bade me on the bed.
All's one, good father. How foolish are our minds! If I do die before thee, prithee shroud me in one of these same sheets.
Come, you talk?
My mother had a name called Barbary. She was in love, and he she loved proved mad, and did forsake her. She had a song of willow. An old thing 'twas, but it expressed her fortune, and she died singing it. That song tonight will not go from my mind. I have much to do, but to go hang my head at all one side and sing it like poor Barbary. Prithee, dispatch.
Shall I go fetch your nightgown?
No, unpin me here. This Levitico is a proper man.
A very handsome man.
He speaks well.
I know a lady in Venice would have walked barefoot to Palestine for a touch of his nether lip.
If I court more women, you'll couch with more men. So get thee gone. Good night. Mine eyes do itch. Doth that bode weeping?
'Tis neither here nor there.
I have heard it said so. Oh, these men, these men. Dost thou in coincidence think, tell me, Amelia, that there be women do abuse their husbands in such gross kind?
There be some such, no question.
The sonnet I will be reciting is from my History and English project on Teresa de Avila. Teresa was a woman very rare, a devout Christian nun for all her days. She got some stares regarding her affairs, sent to a convent for her errant ways. Trance of seizures due to revelations, Teresa wrote to keep her heart in care. Teresa received great education. She would go pray and then she would go share. She would offer repentance for people, spread around Alba and Avila, Spain. Her death a tragedy to people, some say she was tragically slain. Teresa, a lovely exception, having a very complex profession.
I will be reciting my poem called Thou Lovely Cornelia by me to honor Shakespeare's name, as he was a great poet and is still an inspiration to us all. I feel like I should recite my own poem to kind of give him a tribute on how I was inspired by his work. Thank you. Grievous day when thou was taken away. Your smile was bigger than the sun, so joyful. Intellectual, oh, fine lady. When thou would write, to me 'twas beautiful. I will try not to forget thee. Alone I will stay, locked up, grieving, hiding my feelings within me. Did you think of me whilst you were leaving? Well, I will never know. But anyways, I with all my power will remember. And keep thou and my broken heart always. Every passing, yearly cold December, your great mind that makes me feel stronger. Oh, why couldn't thou stay just a bit longer? Thou lovely Cornelia, by Michelangelo.
Set down thy honorable load. If honor may be shredded in a hearse, while I have scarcely lament the ultimately fall of the virtuous Lancaster. Poor key cold figures of a holy king, pale ashes of the house of Lancaster. Thou bloodless remnant of thy royal blood, be lawful that I invocate thy ghost. Hear the laments of poor Anne, wife to thy Edward, to thy slaughtered son, stabbed by the self-same hands that made these wounds, low in the windows that let for thy life. Pour the helpless balm of my poor eyes. Cursed be the hand that made these fatal wounds. Cursed be the heart that had heart to do it. Cursed be thy blood that took the blood from hence. Mine direct will have by thy wretched wretch that made these wretched death by the death of thee. Wish I had attacked spiders, toads, or any creeping venom thing that lives. If he had a child, aborted be it. Prodded is and ultimately brought to light, whose ugly and unnatural aspect may fright the hopeful mother at the view, and be the heir to the unhappiness. If he ever had wife, let her he made miserable by the death of him, as I am made by the poor Lord and thee. Come now towards Charity, you holy land, taken from halls to be enrated there, and still you are weary of the wait. Rest you while I lament King Henry's course.
Sonnet 73. That time of year thou mayest in me behold, when yellow leaves, or none, or few, do hang upon those boughs which shake against the cold, bear ruined choirs, where late the sweet birds sang. In me thou seest the twilight of such day, as after sunset fadeth in the west, which by and by black night doth take away death's second self that seals up all in rest. In me thou seest the glowing of such fire, that on the ashes of his youth doth lie, as the deathbed whereon it must expire, consumed with that which it was nourished by. This thou perceivest, which makes thy love more strong, to love that well, which thou must leave ere long.
Today I will be reciting for you Sonnet 130. My mistress' eyes are nothing like the sun. Coral is far more red than her lips red. If snow be white, then her breasts are dun. If hair be wires, then black wires garner ahead. I've seen roses damasked red and white, but I see such none roses in my mistress' cheeks. And in some perfumes is there more delight than in the breath of my mistress reeks. Yet well I know, I love to hear her speak, yet well I know, that music hath more pleasing sound. And I grant I've never seen a goddess go, than when my mistress walks she trods on the grounds. And yet by heaven, I think my love hath more belied false compared to not.
Two households, both alike in dignity, in fair Verona, where we lay are seen, from ancient grudge break to new mutiny, where civil blood makes civil hands unclean.
From forth the fatal loins of these two foes, a pair of star-crossed lovers take their life, whose misadventured, piteous overthrows doth with their death bury their parents' strife.
The fearful passage of their death marketh love, and the continuance of their parents' rage, which, what their children's end, naught could remove.
Is now the 2 hours' traffic of our stage, the which, if you with patient ears attend, what here shall miss, our toil shall strive to mend.
Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art more lovely and more temperate. Rough winds do shake the darling buds of May, and summer's lease hath all too short a date. Sometimes too hot the eye of heaven shines, and often his gold complexion dimmed, and every fair from fair sometimes declines, by chance or nature's changing course untrimmed. But thy eternal summer shall not fade, nor lose possession of that fair thou owest, nor shall death brag thou wanderest in his shade, when in eternal lines to time thou growest. So long as men can breathe or eyes can see, so long lives this, and this gives life to thee.
These are the forgeries of jealousy, and never since the middle summer's spring met we on hill in dale, forest or mead, by paved fountain or by rushy brook, or in the beached margent of the sea, to dance our ringlets to the whistling wind. But with thy brawls thou hast disturbed our sport. Therefore the winds, piping to us in vain, as in revenge, have sucked up from the sea contagious fogs, which falling in the land have every pelting river made so proud that they have overborne their continents. And this same progeny of evils comes from our debate, from our dissension. We are their parents and original.
Sonnet 91. Some glory in their birth, some in their skills, some in their wealth, some in their body's force, some in their garments, their newfangled ill, some in their hawks and hounds, some in their horse. And every humor hath its adjunct pleasure, wherein it finds a joy above the rest. But these particulars are not my measure. All these I better in one general best. Thy love is better than high birth to me, richer than wealth, prouder than garments cost, of more delight than hawks or horses be, and having thee of all men's pride I boast. Wretched in this alone, that thou mayest take all this away, and me most wretched make.
Be not afraid of greatness. Some are born great, some achieve greatness, and some have greatness thrust upon them.
To be or not to be, that is the question. Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against the sea of troubles and by opposing, end them. To die, to sleep, no more. And by asleep to say we end the heartache and 1,000 natural shocks that flesh is heir to. 'Tis a consummation devoutly to be wished. To die, to sleep, perchance to dream. Ah, there's the rub. For in that sleep of death what dreams may come when we have shuffled off this mortal coil must give us pause. There's the respect that makes calamity of so long life. For who would bear the whips and scorns of time, the oppressor's wrong, the proud man's contumely, the pangs of despised love, the law's delay, the insolence of office, and the spurns that patient merit of the unworthy takes, when he himself might his quietus make with a bare bodkin? Who would fardels bear to grunt and sweat under a weary life, but that the dread of something after death, the undiscovered country from whose bourne no traveler returns, puzzles the will, and makes us rather bear those ills we have than fly to others that we know not of. Thus conscience does make cowards of us all, and thus the native hue of resolution is sicklied o'er with the pale cast of thought, and enterprises of great pitch and moment with disregard their currents turn awry and lose the name of action.